What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It is Thursday, June 1st, and this is Bleakers Off. What's up, man?
What's up, everybody? What's up, dude? It's man, you're looking a little thinner there. You did trim it down. I'm impressed.
Yep.
Yep.
It's not perfect. It's a baby steps. We're not to the stubble, but can't really tell here. Even got the hair trimmed. I mean,
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
feeling like a new man. I was debating it, and then Me and the boys went to the pool the other day, and I was like, yeah, this has got to go. It's just getting old. So this is my summer look. Not quite as clean shaven as you, but it's a
Right.
work in progress.
Well, I've let mine grow out for a few days now, so it's coming in nicely.
You're looking rough. What's
Thank you.
going on?
Yeah, I know. I know.
So we are a week out, almost a week out from the Belmont, and of course we got a good set of racing this weekend. Kind of like that one of those unknown weekends that kind of gets sandwiched between the Triple Crown there. But the Penn Oaks, Penn Mile, and then on Friday, then you got good racing at Belmont and Churchill Downs and Santa Anita this weekend as well. It serves. I think it serves as a nice kind of, here's not huge racing, but this is a solid set of racing we can kind of get our hands on until we get to obviously the huge card that will present itself next. Well, really not just Saturday, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Belmont Park.
Yeah, I always like this weekend. The Penn Mile and the Pennine Ridge, two races we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show. They're kind of preps towards that big Belmont Derby day, which is like usually like 4th of July weekend, right around that time period where you see those really, really good races. So I am looking forward to that, because this weekend is really the big kind of precursor to that. I always love the big races at the smaller tracks too. So that's kind of cool. We get that Penn Mile, Penn Oaks, like you talked about. So it's a good weekend for sure. And like I said, it's a nice little start to what's going to be a huge weekend coming up.
So tell the folks here, what do we this is a usually we do this in the afternoon, later afternoon, into the evening. We're doing it at noon today. Why are we doing it early? Where are you going?
Yeah, so if you're bored tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, you got to be really bored. 6 o'clock Central Time tomorrow night. Husker Butch runs in the first race at Prairie Meadows, and so I'm leaving tonight, trying to get up there a little bit. Well, could go about halfway, maybe. I'm getting old. I don't want to do it all in one day, and then go up tomorrow and watch Husker Butch run. So if you're going to be at Prairie Meadows, come find me. I'll be there Friday and Saturday, and yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know how well he will run. Probably decent. I don't know if he'll win or not. But he's 7-2. First race on Friday at Prairie Meadows.
7-2. First race on Friday.
Yep.
Prairie Meadows. What are you or Saturday? Is it Friday or Saturday?
It's Friday. Friday.
What do you like? Well, honestly though, like you think? I mean, who's the favorite in that race? I mean, what are your if you were handicapping that race, non-owner bias, how you feeling about it?
I think third is probably the most realistic we could be. He's going to improve at second off the layoff. He really needed the race last time out. Much easier spot. It's going to just depend on if he can kind of get out towards the front. He should. He's got enough early speed. But there's two horses, the number one and the number two in that race, that I think might just be a little bit better than us. But I think we can run third. And, a maiden special weight. We did not drop down to maiden claiming yet. So, if he could go out there and run third, then you're like, okay, we could try special weight again. We could drop down to the maiden claiming ranks and he'd really look good. So we just hope to see a good effort. I think he's going to hit the board.
Well, there you go. Lock it in, he says. Lock it in. Hit the board. No, Jesse, we will. Of course we will. Yeah. A couple times probably. So we've been going to the Travers last couple of years, it feels like, I think. And that's seems to be kind of, I don't know about you, Alterman, but I think we kind of circle that every year now.
Yep. That's a can't miss. We'll definitely be there. I'm still trying to work out the summer plans. Of course, my wife's family's up there, so you kind of have to work around that a little bit. But I'll be up there. I'll be up there quite a bit, I would say. Not the whole summer like last year, but a couple of weekends for sure.
I don't know. It feels like for some reason this year more than most years. Which not to say I don't get excited about Saratoga, but the last couple weeks I've been seeing. We have friends that live up there, and seeing pictures of it on social media, and then of course kind of just thinking about what's coming up, it's like I seem more excited than most years to be back to Saratoga.
It feels like every year it's getting bigger and bigger and better and better. And yeah, I'm with you on that. Also, we're gonna have at the Horseshoe, and I'm sure many of you, if you've been to Saratoga, have been to the Horseshoe. We're gonna have a couple of banners hanging from the tents right at the
That's
Horseshoe,
right.
which I'm pretty proud of that. Honestly, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my hope is I can at least get to the Horseshoe and say, "Hey, see that? That's my company. Can I give a free beer or something?" So that's what I'm
Oh
hoping
yeah,
for.
that would be nice.
I imagine the way I imagine is we'll be there and they'll flock to us. Women, children, kids, adults, everyone, because they see our pictures on hanging from the ceiling there.
That would be cool. I don't think that's reality, but that would be very cool to see that happen.
Shaking hands and kissing babies. Is that what they say? No, something like that.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And I told Casey Buck, my cousin, and you're a good friend about
Oh
it, and
yeah, love
he
that
was
guy.
he was very excited because he's like, oh, I always go to the Horseshoe after the races. I was like, that's why we did it, because people like you are always there.
Gotta track to our fans there, Mr. Casey Buck, my biggest supporter.
That's
Not
right.
just for me and in general, but in my life as well. He's just a solid
Right.
stand up dude.
Absolutely.
Oh man, I can't wait to see him. I can't wait. I never understand that guy. Like
Absolutely.
I've never understood the beef. Like he's always mad at me. And I don't know why.
Even I can confirm, even when you're not there, he's still mad at you. He's talking shit to me about you. I'm like, I don't care about this.
But he seems like when I'm there, like we hang out, we have a good
Mhm.
time. Like there's no like animosity, but it's like as soon as I leave, I feel like he's mad at me for some reason. Like it was ever since the one time I think I gave him shit about Brady, because he was, he's a Patriot. I don't know, is he still a Patriots fan or is
Yep.
he was a Brady Patriots fan, and of course
Mhm.
Chiefs and coming up, and so I gave him some shit about something one time, and it was just like as you do as dudes, and he didn't like that,
No,
not at
he
all,
sure
and it
didn't.
hung with him. It still
It,
hangs with him.
it's it's a feud that only he participates in.
Brady he's retired. He's about to start announcing, and we're still talking. He's still upset about it.
Still
So
upset. Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. Anyways, I'm so excited to see Casey. So I
Yeah.
love. By the way, I kidding aside, like his family is amazing. We so much fun when we go. I mean, you're in. Well, Heather's aunt and uncle.
Mhm.
Just, I mean, you can't. It's just we have some of the best trips we've had at Saratoga. We're with that group of people. So
Yep.
looking forward to being back. Yeah, we'll be back, Jesse, and definitely. I mean, we had a good time last time, right? So,
Yep.
uh, we'll be back, and don't worry, like we'll connect, right?
Yes.
If you're buying
well,
beers, if you're buying, we'll connect.
well, I was going to say, we hang out at the same spot. It's not going to be hard to find each other.
That's the great thing about us is like if you really know us and if you like follow us, and it's like if you don't know, like, hey, I would like to see where the dudes are. Your first and best bet is always to go to wherever the bar is in that vicinity at that whatever track you're at. Go start there first, and then spread out that way. You're gonna find us if you start like a circle in that area and just do a vicinity of that check. Like you will find one of us. I have no doubt about it.
Especially at Saratoga. if you if you're going to be there this summer, just go to the Paddock Bar. We will. I guarantee you, half the weekends, one of us at least will be there at the Paddock Bar. So
Yeah, yeah. And if we're not, just there might be the odd chance that we're either at Shake Shack or
right,
on the rail watching a race. But just ask somebody, "Have you seen these dudes?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, they'll be right back."
yeah, they're over there.
But no, I don't know. Absolutely, this is a place to find you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there you go. I mean, as I say, go to Keeneland, that bar at Keeneland. Guess
Yep.
what? You'll see us there. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Santa Anita, that bar there. Yep, you'll find us there. Del
Yeah.
Mar. I mean,
Yeah.
every track you can think of. Go to Oakland. Yep, you'll go to that
Yeah.
bar up on top. Yep.
Yeah.
Problem is, there's they're not all as easy as Saratoga, where you have that perfect location where in the paddock bar. There's too many spots to look, but Saratoga is easy.
Yeah, that's a good spot. The bar at Keeneland is a real good spot because you can just walk right out and then boom, you're right, at the track where you're kind of up above where you can look. That's a good spot. Some of the other ones are a little more challenging. Oaklawn's kind of a challenge. I feel like Del Mar, places like that. So yeah, those are two good ones. That bar at Keeneland, that's perfect. That's really good.
I mean, that was like the year the Breeders' Cup was there whenever COVID was going on, and there was no one there. It was like almost felt like a dream. Every time we walked in there was no one there. You just, I mean, it was nothing like it is now because obviously there was no one there. So,
Yep.
it felt like a hidden jewel at the time. But all right, guys, let's get into it. We got 1 week, like I said earlier, to the Belmont Stakes. Of course, the final leg of the Triple Crown, and it's looking like a doozy, guys. It looks like it might be the one of the three that's the most exciting, the best field, top to bottom. So we'll talk a little bit about that for this coming up June 10th, 1 week away for the 2023 Belmont Stakes. And then we're going to get some rapid fire selections for the greatest stakes action this weekend at Belmont Park, Churchill Downs, and Penn National, including, of course, tomorrow's 400K Penn Mile Stakes. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, that was, dude, that same thing, Curtis. On those, we were like, I mean, for one, you get the, for those times it was limited and stuff, you get, for any of the places, you get like the bar lines. It was
Yeah.
the key. Like, you just don't have to wait. So you're just like, hey, you want to drink? Sure. You're back in 3 minutes,
Yep.
Whereas
2000,
now it's, you miss basically a race.
2021 Derby Oaks was awesome.
Yeah, it
22,
was. That was
22. It felt like more people were there, but 21 was awesome.
Yeah, it was. That the year that we realized that we were getting free drinks.
Yes. Yeah, I went up and I tried to give her $20 for the drinks. She's like, they're free. I was like, no, seriously. She's like, no, they're free. I was like, oh my God.
He came back to give me my drink and he was like, dude, you will not believe what happened.
You're not going to believe this one.
I didn't. I was like, no way. So I went with him the next time. Sure shit. I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be a problem.
Yep.
We got our money's worth. And by the way, we paid nothing for the tickets. So we definitely got our money's worth.
Yes, we did.
All right, let's do a little Belmont and then we'll get into some rapid fire. By the way, if you guys have questions, comments, we're going to kind of go through the field. We'll go look a little bit at the undercard as well, at least what the latest is. And, we'll just kind of, obviously next week we'll really hone in on this, but, kind of the field feels like it's finally starting to firm up a little bit as far as who's going to be there and who's not. So,
yep.
Give us your comments and questions below. Saturday, June 10th, 2023, the 155th renewal of the $1.5 million Belmont Stakes takes place at, of course, Belmont Park. The field is starting to take shape. Halterman, as we are about 1 week out, and it kind of looks like it might be the best race of the three legs here. As we look here, you see on the screen, if you're listening to this on the just the audio version, I'll run through it here. The latest as of yesterday, I haven't seen the NYRA press release today as far as the potential field, but as of right now, you're looking at 9 horses, 10 possible. Angel of Empire, Arcangelo, Forte, Hit Show. Is it? I never know how to pronounce it. Il Miracolo? I don't know. National Treasure. What is it?
Il Miracola is how I say it, but I don't know if that's right or not.
It's weird too because the eye. It's like, what is that second eye? It's not an eye. It's not like I almost like I almost look like the second, right?
Yeah,
but it's, I don't know, just whatever. The Santa horse, National Treasure, Raise Cane, Red Route 1, Tappet Trice, and then Tappet Shoes is a possible, but those first 9 are probable entries. It started off with Bob Baffert having 3 possible, and now we're all the way down to just the Preakness winner, National Treasure, at least the latest. Which was weird. I really thought Arabian Lion would show up here. Maybe he will, but right now it looks like it's just going to be National Treasure.
Yeah, and you look at that and you think, well, first thing you always look at is what's the pace going to look like? Who's running with National Treasure early in this race? Again, I don't see a ton of speed lined up for this race after the defections. We had a lot of speed at first look when he had 13 horses, 14 horses lined up, but now I don't see a lot of other speed in this race. Do you?
No, I don't. And I think you can look at that, two different ways. One, it obviously is going to help National Treasure, but two, you you would think a horse like Tapit Trice, who you know just can't seem to get going early in these races. Maybe just that limited speed in the race keeps him a little bit closer in the race.
I don't look. It's hard to talk about Tapit Trice because of how bad he was in the Kentucky Derby, and you think back to that, and boy, it just was bad. But if you take that race out, we've thought all along that the Belmont was going to be the race for him. And the thing about it is, like, people I trust, like Richard McLeary, I made this example. I don't remember what other show we were on. Maybe it was Saturday when we did Blinkers Off. It's like I watch him talk about Tapit Trice and Forte, and he's like, Tapit Trice in his works, he's much more impressive. Like, he's just looks really, really good. I love what I see from him. So you have to think he's going to sit there and have a much, much better trip. But boy, he was bad in the Kentucky Derby. There's no way around it. He was brutal in that race.
I mean, that I tried. I don't know. You kind of I feel like you have to throw that out a little bit, just because if you do, like you said, look at that, it was not good. Um, I think you can help that by going and go watch Mo Donegal last year in the Derby, and then go watch him obviously win the Belmont. I think one thing about it is like this. Well, Angel of Empire is appealing as well as being a key horse. But as I look at it, I really think Tapit Trice is a solid horse to key in this race in terms of 1, 2, 3. Just because I just think he's going to hit the board here. I don't know how he does it just based off of his ability and running style. But can he win? Like, yeah, I think he can. But you're right. After watching that race, you're like, I don't like it as much as I did prior to the race.
Yep, absolutely. You think about Mo Donegal last year, he just felt right the whole week. I was just like, I have no doubt Mo Donegal's winning this race. I don't have that feeling right now with Tapit Trice, like I did with Mo Donegal. I was so ready to pound him and did pound him in that race. And this one again, it could just be none of these have really stood out and been just great horses throughout this whole thing. And so that's part of it as well. But I just got kind of a lackluster feel about this field so far as we sit here right now. The other surprise sort of is Forte kind of pointing towards the race after they said he wasn't going to point towards the Belmont. Can he kind of show up here and run a big race after not running since the Florida Derby? That's going to be a long layoff now for a horse trying 1.5 miles. So I think Forte is he's a weird one. What do you do with him? Because let's not forget, he did beat the Kentucky Derby winner Mage in that Florida Derby, but will he be ready for this 1.5 miles after what's happened to him?
I know. I almost like he's scary to play against for sure, but I was ready to play against him in the Derby as well, and as far as on top, I was going to use him underneath, but so I can't really. And then it's like, well, they said, okay, well, we're going to just point to the Travers now, and then all of a sudden, that's what the trainer said, and then if now he shows up to run here, and I don't, and just from what I've heard and kind of what the feel is of it, I don't necessarily love it. It feels a little bit forced to me. I could see him being a little short, like he could run a really good race, but because he's talented, right? But like when the real, when it gets kind of gutty there at the end, like, can he hold off Tapit Trice? Can he hold off, even Red Route 1 National? Can he get to National Treasure? Can he, whatever it is? Angel Empire, can he hold off Angel Empire? Like, there's a bunch in there that just, I don't know. Like, maybe he is one of those cases where he runs a really good race, puts away Tapit Trice, like he holds him off, but then here comes Angel Empire that nails him at the or whatever. Like it feels like maybe just too much to do. I don't like that they kind of re pivoted or whatever, like they kind of changed up, and it feels a little forced to me. So I do think him being in the race is beneficial if you don't want to play him, though, because he's going to take a lot of money, and
Yeah.
it's going to make the price like Tapit Trice. And I mean, I haven't really analyzed it too closely, but let's just say like without Forte in the race, Tapit Trice is like 2-1, 5-2. And with him in the race, he's probably 3-4-1, And so to me, like you're getting a much better price on not just him, but a bunch of these horses. It's interesting to see. Do you think him or National Treasure will be a lower price? Forte. I think it'll be Forte.
I think it will be Forte. I think you'll get a similar price on National Treasure that you got in the Preakness, which is kind of weird to think of it that way, but I really think that's what's going to happen. National Treasure is a horse again. If he looks to have that big pace advantage, you might look at him a little bit harder than maybe what you thought you would have. But look, he's kind of a grinded out, run all day type. You get that lead, he might be tough to pass. You mentioned Angel of Empire for Brad Cox. I think Hit Show for Brad Cox is kind of interesting as well. This race looks like it would suit him pretty well on paper. He ran a sneaky good race in the Derby, so Hit Show's another one. That's a horse at a price that I think is going to run pretty well in here. So this is certainly the best of what we've got so far. I really believe that.
Well, think about it. You look at the Derby, and your top, I mean, let's say Forte was in the race. Yes, he was until a couple days. Your top three choices of the race: Angel of Empire, Forte, Tapit Trice. Pretty clear on those. And so you got all those. You got the top horses of the Derby coming back. You've got the Preakness winner, who is trained by Bob Baffert in the race.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Hit Show, who I think is interesting. I agree with you completely. You've got Red Route 1, who's interesting, who the distance seems like would be fitting for the horse. So you've got some other ones are kind of sort of quote unquote new shooters that we don't necessarily know a ton about, but could benefit from the distance here as well. So to me, I feels it's certainly better than the Preakness, and I think it's better than the Derby as well, just because this feels, even though it's a mile and a half, it definitely feels like a truer race than maybe the Derby is going to be. And actually, I want to look a couple of comments. I agree with so I disagree with you, Dennis. If Tapit Trice was a real deal and if Forte wasn't turned on the barn, he wouldn't be here. And Curtis, I agree with you, Curtis. If Mike Rapoli wasn't from New York, would Forte be in the Belmont? That is what I think is happening here. I think if you want to be, my honest opinion is, if you asked Pletcher, if you gave him truth serum here, and Rapoli couldn't hear his answer, Tapit Trice is his horse in this race. That's his horse. He's been saying that since March, I think, and he's got him in and he looks good, everything. But one of his best owners in the game is Rapoli, right? And Rapoli loves this race, and he's got the 2-year-old champion, and they kind of got however you want to talk about the scratch of the Derby, but they didn't like that he was scratched, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to run him, and so if you're Pletcher, I think if you just blank out the owners and you're just looking at the horses in general, I think you're probably pointing to the Travers with him. But given who owns the horse, I think that has a big play in this.
Yeah, I wouldn't read a whole lot into it. I think you're right. I think it's situation. Hey, the owner wants to run. Call up the trainer. It's like, hey, can he run? Yes, no. If the answer is yes, we'll run him. And I think that's all that really is. I think people. I'm trying to think about how to phrase this. I don't think people realize how much the owners tell the trainers what to do when they're this size, right? Meaning their operation is as big as what Rapoli is, or name another big owner, trainer, or owner. even a guy like Todd Pletcher sometimes gets told what to do by the trainer because, believe it or not, these trainers who work a normal job and have a regular office job think they know more than this owner, I should say, think they know more than this trainer who's on the backside every single day with their horse, watching their horse. That happens a lot. And so sometimes you see a trainer and you're like, what is he doing? This is weird. And it's literally because the owner said, run the horse.
Yeah. And like, I'm trying to be like nice about it because I've never owned a horse like of this magnitude. And like, Rapoli grew up, in New York. He wants to win the Belmont. He did win the Belmont, of course, last year, but like this is his derby, really, and he's got a horse and he wants to run him, and who's to say, even if he's not like, maybe the ideal situation for if you're Pletcher is you think you can win the Travers with him, but you want to get him there, in a different way. He still could be better than the rest of this group and win, So it's not like, even if it's like, well, you don't like it, maybe that's a reason to play against, but certainly could still win the race. If the rest of this group isn't great. So I don't necessarily blame Rapoli for wanting to run the horse here. And I don't, if the horse is better now after the issue of the foot or whatever in the Derby, then it's like, well, you kind of have to go to well, if they're good, might as well run them, right? And I guess that is partly true. I don't like ever, and like any terms of we had a plan and then it gets changed. I don't like that, especially real quick.
And I think what you said is what everybody really needs to pay attention to, because here's the deal. We can speculate why the horse is there, right? And we could be right or we could be wrong, but we'll never really know if we were right, if we were wrong. You're not going to get the honest answer. If anything, if you know anything about horse racing, you're never going to get an honest answer from an owner or a trainer or a jockey ever.
Well, dude, look at the Derby week. Like, up until the day of the scratch, morning of the scratch, Pletcher was still going off about how great he was and how good he looked and everything was perfect and all systems were go. And then 2 hours later, the horse is scratched.
Exactly. So you can sit there and speculate, well, he's only there because of Rapoli, or no, he's there because Pletcher thinks he's a monster. You might be right, you might be wrong, but you're wasting your time. You're never going to know that answer. And even if you know people that know these people, you're not going to know that answer. I can speak from experience, but what you do know is they came out to the public and said, we are not running in the Belmont, period. We're going to try the Preakness, and that was before that got off the table. They said, we're going to try to get to the Preakness. He's not going to the Belmont. Now he is going. That's a fact, right? Like, that's something was the plan, and now it's gone. So to speak on what Jared said to the last point, that's not speculation. That's a fact, and so now you can take that into account, right?
And you could play, I'm just playing devil's advocate. You could play the card of like, well, at that time they thought they could run the Preakness, and they turned out they couldn't, and so they wanted to run one race of the Triple Crown. That was the race. Now they got that taken off the table. Now it's the Belmont. You could make that argument too, but I don't know. It's weird.
To get to Charles' point, he said, yeah, but that was the Churchill vet call, not the barn. So here's the reality of what happened, Charles. And I mean, you can believe it or not, but this is what happened. The barn wanted to scratch the horse. The barn knew the horse needed to be scratched. The owner would not accept it and would not allow them to do it. That's why the vet had to make the call. 9 times out of 10, if the owner's not squawking, the horse is scratched. And the owner has a history of doing this. If you look back to Uncle Mo, it was the same kind of situation.
Yep.
That's why the vet had to make the call. It's not a situation where a vet came in and said, you can't do this. It's a situation where the owner and the trainer had a disagreement, and so the vet had to come in and make the call one way or the other. But he wasn't actively searching the barns looking for scratches.
All right. So we, obviously once the race gets, the final and we get an idea of, post positions and all. When are they drawing, by the way? Are they drawing on Monday?
I believe it's Monday. Yeah, usually it's Monday. Yeah.
So, after the weekend, we should know, who's in the field, what the, post positions. I know a lot of people have been commenting about, if Tabitha Trice draws outside, then that's going to be a lot better for him. I don't think it hurts. Let's put it that way. In a race like this, it's hard to, get too worried about post positions going as long as they do. give me a horse that's not, not Tapit Trice and not Forte. Let's put it that way. That you're most appealed to right now. As far as you're interested in playing to win.
A hit show for me because I think he's going to be about 10-1. Well, I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe he won't be. Maybe people will look at it like me, but I think hit show's the one that if you want a bit of a price, I would throw Angel of Empire not on that mix. I think he'll be bet down. Not saying he's a bad bet, just saying he doesn't fit the question you asked. I don't think either, but I think hit show does. I think he'll get a little bit ignored. Forte, Tapatrice, Angel of Empire are going to take a lot of money. National Treasure. So there's 4 horses that'll be lower odds than hit show. So, I mean, mathematically speaking, that's the horse that's going to be a little bit higher than maybe he should be. So I thought his Derby was very impressive. And I think if he can get a trip finally, Hit Show could be a dangerous horse at a price.
Yeah, you really stole everything that I was going to say about that one because I agree. I when I did the analysis of the Derby afterwards on our YouTube page, like Hit Show was one that really kept coming, standing out to me. I didn't really go into it thinking that, and I kept watching him, because he's pretty noticeable horse as well. And you're just like, damn, man, like he ran a good race. The trip, he got tired. Man, what a horse. It's just, he's gotten trip issues, seems like constantly. A horse, I think if he can get the distance, which, I think he should, he shouldn't have any excuses for a trip in this case. And I think he's super dangerous. And I agree. Like, I think so. Like, I would rather play him than Angel of Empire. And I get if Tapit Shoes gets in, obviously out of the 3, no doubt, Hit Show. But where are you at with Red Route 1? And are you, because on one end it's like, well, you have the idea of, gosh, now we're going a mile and a half. He should love going a mile and a half. And Asmussen said, I mean, I don't even think the horse was back to the barn after the Preakness yet. And he was like, we're definitely going to the Belmont, and this is a horse that seems like on paper, the longer they go, the better. But we saw it in the Preakness. He was highly impacted by the lack of pace, the slow pace. Could see that here again with no logical pace up front other than National Treasure. So where do you kind of stand with him? Do you think the pace is going to still factor in on him, and maybe he doesn't quite get the run that we've seen from him, and maybe a third, fourth at best? Or do you think the distance is going to be in his favor and he could have a potential to upset?
I can't get there with the potential to upset. I just can't. I just don't think he's that type. I think third or fourth is probably his ceiling in a race like this. And I think that's kind of how he's been his whole career. When he dropped down to the Bathhouse Row Stakes, he still just barely won. And you just look at this and it's like, yeah, he won. He analyzed the race and people are like, he's getting better. It's like, no, the horses in front of him just weren't as fast, So I feel like that's what he is. I would be pretty surprised if he won, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if he gets up and hits the board. I mean, that's just kind of what he is at this point.
Yeah, I think I'm more on the fence or more on the side of underneath at best with him still. I just don't he's too slow. I just don't think he's fast enough. And if you have a situation like we've seen in this race, it's not like these dead close. Now, granted, they did try to get him into the race more in the Preakness. It didn't work, but he was much closer in the race than he had been in his whole career. That's not what wins that race, is where you come flying from out of it. It's tactical, and that's a little bit of concern if you're Tapit Trice. You got to have the horse that horse in a better position, in that kind of like they did in the Bluegrass, in order to win this race. You're not going to win this race by coming from 10, 15 out of it. You've got to be near the lead, near the pace somewhat, because they're not going to go fast. And that's what's it's going to take to win. So if you're going to be Red Route 1, if you're going to be Tapit Trice or Angel of Empire, you're going to have to sit a much closer trip than maybe some anticipate.
Yeah, and I think that is going to be a big problem. When you look at the only closer in recent years, recent meaning 10, 15 years, I can really remember that one from way out of it was Creator, and he made
Hmm.
any almost, I should say, any closer in this race, you got to be able to make like 3 moves in the race. Like if you're in last or close to last, like you got to make a kind of a move up the backside, you got to make a move on the turn, and then you got to finish the race down the stretch, right? And so that's kind of what you have to do. You got to be a pretty special horse to do that. And I don't see that out of Red Route One. He just looks like a one pace type. Well, maybe not one pace, but one move type of horse. He's just a stretch runner. I think you're going to have to make multiple moves to kind of get to where you need to be. Even Essential Quality fell a little bit further behind than what you would think, but again, he did that same kind of thing. He made a couple moves and got himself in a real good spot. You got to be in a good spot turning for home, and I don't think Red Route One will be in good enough of a spot.
Yeah, you talk about Creator, also the son of Tappet.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's definitely kind of has that. I want to give credit to. I saw this article. I don't love the content that Horse Racing Nation puts out, but every once in a while there's something decent out there, and they put out an article this week about kind of the Tappets, how they performed in the Belmont, particularly the ones that have ran in the Derby, the Belmont jump. There's been 7 starters from the Belmont from the Derby to the Belmont, and 3 have won of those 7, and all 7 have hit the board. Um, Frosted, Creator, Lanny, Tappert, Hofberg, Tacitus, Essential Quality, and then of course now coming to Tappet Trice. But none of them finished better than 4th in the Derby, and all of them finished top 3, including 3 wins in the Belmont. So I think that's interesting. It just shows you how tough that race can be for Tappets in the Derby, and how beneficial that race can be in the Belmont for those Tappets.
Yep. It's just a trend now for sure. Happens once, you don't think a whole lot about it. Happens again and again. It's like, okay, yeah, it's definitely a trend. And who would have thought, right? It's a little bit strange, but that's definitely where we're at. I mean, there's no arguing it anymore.
All right. So I asked you as far as the other ones, who is your pick right now? Obviously not locked in. We're going to change. We could change once everything gets out there, but your early pick to win, who is it?
I have
Put you
no
on the
idea.
spot. Huh?
I have no idea.
You gotta say someone.
Uh, Hit show. I really don't know. I don't know the answer.
Man, that what what's gonna get you there?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. When the first probables came out, I thought, oh, there's going to be a lot of speed in this race. And so I was definitely like Tapatrice, Angel of Empire, Forte. It's really going to set up well. But now you look at this and it's like, God, there's no speed. And I think you kind of want a close plotter in this race all of a sudden. So I don't really know at this point. And look, what is handicapping in advance got us these 2 Triple Crown races so far? Nothing but disappointment. So I'm just going to wait till the entries come out before I really think about it too hard.
Well, by the way, mine would be Tappet Tries. Just as of right now, I have to stick with it. But at this point, based off the first 2 legs, yeah, Dennis, like after the first 2 legs of the race, like might as well not even handicap until about Thursday or Friday. When you look at these races, what's the over under 1.5 of scratches we'll have after they draw? That seems to be the right number. And on top of that, how many horses under 3-1 will we see scratched from the race? That's been the MO so far. You had Forte scratch, well, a slew of scratches in the Derby. Of course, First Mission scratching was a huge one in the Preakness. Let's hope maybe we can. Maybe this can be like we can end the Triple Crown on the right foot as we head into summer.
Well, I keep saying in the videos I do to kind of prepare people for the Belmont or preview the Belmont. It's like, okay, we got to hold this field together. Right now it looks good. And every week, every day, really, we're losing a horse here and there. You still have the main players though. So I still think I'm very hopeful, but boy, by Monday, will they all enter? And then by Saturday, will they all race? I don't know. I've learned not to get just too excited until they get in the gates.
I know. Shoddy, thank you, but I'm sure Tabatrice will win now. Now the fantasy league is out of reach for me.
Yeah.
He'll win just to piss me off. But yeah, I hope he wins just to. I mean, what is the top like of the fantasy league, Halterman? How many actually make money in this thing? What top?
It's 150, 25, 10. So,
Well, shit, man, top
yeah.
5.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. Oh, you mean places. Top 5 don't have to pay. I think the top 4 pays out.
Well, perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
I can deal with that. So.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to pay.
As long as I'm not paying anything at this point, I'm happy. And because I can't live with the fact of paying Shoddy any money. You know what I'm saying? So
That'll be my job.
Yeah, go rocker. I just ruined everything. The Affirm Stakes though pointed out. When is that race? That's coming up.
It's Sunday.
That's Sunday, right?
Yep, it is Sunday. Yep.
So Go Rocker Ride, I'm sure will win by about 20 in that race and show why. Just to rub some salt in the wound there. But yeah, Belmont Stakes, not this weekend, next weekend, June 10th. Right now, that's the early look at the race coming up. Stay tuned. We'll have tons more. And of course, the final field coming out early next week. You ain't getting my money, Shoddy. It's not. You won't be dancing with my money. You can be dancing with Halterman's money or whoever is underneath, but it's not gonna be my money. I'm not paying anything.
I think John and Ryan and Magic and Samich and mine.
Dude, yeah. I hope you dance with Magic's money. That's what I want you to do.
Well, they're gonna have to pay the most.
Good.
They look like they're definitely gonna be in last. So, not where you want to be, obviously. There was some talk about owners and trainers and fights amongst them. Yeah, it's in the chat as we were talking, and I was just going to comment. It's a constant struggle, and I saw Michael comment, "Hey, in the claiming races, it's the trainer that's making the decisions. I trust that more so, but not always. I can speak firsthand. My trainer trains a lot of claiming horses, and some of those owners are not easy to deal with. So most of them are good, but some of them are not."
Dennis, I don't know maybe I missed it. What's the Loggins comment? He's retired. So yeah. I don't know if you're hoping he's going to show up again. But he's retired. So, yeah. I mean, it's a bummer because, but we kind of knew that. We didn't know he was going to be retired, but we knew that we weren't going to see him anytime soon, all the way back in December. So,
well, it's funny. We just had a talk about owners and trainers fighting over what to do. And case in point is Loggins. Like, one camp said, no, we cannot run him in this race. And the other camp said, we need a grade 1. We're running in this race. And now you see what happens when people that aren't horsemen make decisions for horses. Period. End of discussion.
Yep. And, yeah, I mean, it's tough too, when you rush horses into things, and sometimes they do really well, and then they're never the same after that,
Yep.
You look at Nyquist, Exaggerator. Those two horses were never the same after kind of the grueling couple races there, and that huge run they had in the Preakness. Nyquist especially was just done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's some of the amazing things of the Triple Crown, Justify, another one, like obviously maybe he could have came back, but he was, we won't have to get into all that, but yeah. He was hanging in there by strings at the end there. And, it's just like, that's what you rush a horse like that, but never made a start until February and all the way wins the Triple Crown. It's like, that's a lot to ask of a horse.
Yep.
All right, let's do some rapid fire. We got 7 rapid fire races to talk about. A couple at Penn National on Friday, tomorrow, and then Belmont, Churchill Downs. Are we doing the first race at Prairie Meadows tomorrow or no?
We could if you want to. Yeah.
I don't want to, but you can tell me who you can do it if you'd like. I can give it to you.
That's okay.
Okay. All right, time for Rapid Fire, presented by OG Handicappers. What's up, guys? JerryWalshRacingDudes.com. Have you ever cashed a huge bet and thought, man, I wish I had a t-shirt to commemorate this victory. Now you do. That's right. Maybe you cashed in on a mutter.
His father was a mutter. His father was a mutter. His mother was a mutter. His mother was a mutter. What did I just say?
Look at that. A mutter. You got that. This is the apparel you've been waiting for. It's finally here. OG Handicappers. That's oghandicappers.com. This is the face of horse racing apparel. It's not only horse racing. They've got golf. They've got lifestyle, casinos, cigars, betting. You name it. It features all your favorite. Look at that. So you cashed in on the front runner. Horse that went gate to wire. You know what? I need a t-shirt for this. Boom. You've got it. OG Handicappers. OG Handicappers has a vibe for everyone, and they even now have ladies apparel. I'm thinking about getting some ladies apparel for for the Tinder girls. Just bring them over. Here's a shirt for you. All right, oghandicappers.com. Look at this. You got the exact. Maybe you cash in on a huge exacta. You know what? I need one. Or maybe you're the favorite of the family. Grade 1 bread. That's it. That's what you need. Follow them on IG, Facebook, and Twitter. Go to their store at oghandicappers.com. Get yours today. Use promo code DUDES, DUDES, at checkout for a 10% discount. That's oghandicappers.com. Go get it. Okay, let's go to Penn National, the only time of the year that we talk about Penn National, and it's good. Every year it's good racing though. On this day, Friday, race 5, the Penn Oaks. Of course, this will be racing at night, the 6:10 Central, 7:10 Eastern time for this race. 150K for fillies, 3-year-olds going 1 mile on the turf, field of 9. Lines up here, Halterman. Really came down to the Pletcher versus the Chad Brown, it looks like, at least on paper. Princess Bettina and Royalty Interest all the way outside for Chad Brown. Did you go one of those two, or did you go elsewhere?
I went with Royalty Interest here for Chad Brown, the 9-horse. I think this is going to be a really interesting race for her. Debuted at Tampa last time out, ran it very, very well. Irad Ortiz was aboard that day. He gets aboard here. So I'm going to go Royalty Interest in this spot to get us kicked off.
Dude, I thought this was an interesting race. I honestly almost picked the 8. I thought the 8 was interesting, but just taking a big step up here in class. But I liked the way the horses had ran the last couple times. But ultimately, I went and watched a bunch of replays actually for this one, and horse 9, the Royalty Interest. To me, that performance last time out was pretty eye-opening. I thought that debuted, made special weight. It was the race right after Tapit Trice won the Tampa Bay Derby, and it was, you go back and watch that if you guys want. But Irad, rode that horse that day, and just, this horse just like took off like a cannon out down the stretch, and just never was really asked. Back aboard here again. I think she's going to be tough. The outside post isn't ideal necessarily, but not too worried about it. I think Irad will give a ride, and I don't necessarily think this field is awesome. That's another reason why I liked the 8 a little bit, just because I didn't think the field was great, and I kind of took a stance against a little bit with the 5 at 9-5. So hopefully we can get. I don't know if we'll get 5-2. Maybe we'll get 2-1 on the horse, but I'm with you. Number 9, Royalty Interest for me as well. All right, let's go to the next one here. Race 6. The Penn Mile Stakes, grade 2, 400K for 3-year-olds going 1 mile on the turf as well. Field of 8 lines up here, and your favorite, very clear favorite, 8-5, number 2, Major Dude, Todd Pletcher, and Irad Ortiz as well. But faces against a group of 7 other horses. And, to me, I looked at this one, Halterman, and I thought, maybe finally, this horse has been running kind of too good to lose the last couple races, and has. Maybe finally catches a field that is fit for him, and he can win.
I feel like if number 2 Major Dude loses this race, it would be a big disappointment. Especially how well he ran last time out at Churchill Downs. Just got beat by Web Slinger, but it was a really good effort for Major Dude. And like I said, he's been running really well. 2 back, tried the synthetic, got beat by 2 fills, and 2 fills finished second of the Kentucky Derby. This horse has a ton of back class, and I think is definitely the one to beat here. So number 2, Major Dude for me. I am a little bit scared of number 5, Recruiter. This horse trying turf for the first time, but has a pace advantage over this group that I thought was interesting. I think the 5 is going to take him a long way, but 2, Major Dude for me.
Yeah, you looked back at those last couple, and I thought it was important to see the horse go from that Jeff Ruby, which obviously was flattered majorly by 2 fields running as good as he did in the Derby. I thought he's ran a couple really good races, and it was nice to see him get back to the turf after that effort. 'Cause you never know, like maybe he needed one, or he obviously didn't win, but he ran really well. He ran his best numbers wise race that he's ran on the turf in that return back. I'd expect him to take another step up. I think you're right. I do think there's some pace in here, but I like the fact that he is a tactical horse and can sit off of it. So I'm hoping Irad wins two in a row here. Number 2, Major Dude for me as well. Do you think do you think they're gonna like obviously point? Do you think he I know this is a mile race. Do you think they're gonna try to stick with the mile? Like, do you think the mile in the Breeders' Cup is kind of the goal here for him?
I'm not really sure. He has stretched out and been okay. I don't know if he's a mile and a quarter, I should say, Belmont Derby type or not. I would think that would be what they would think of immediately, but I'm not real sure about that. I think how he runs in this race will kind of tell us a lot. But yeah, look, it's not like he's been just a monster at a mile. I think stretching out would probably be okay.
Yeah, you're right. Truth exposed. Like he run like he trains really well. Like there was a reason why they were kind of interested in running him in the Derby. They think a lot of this horse. I feel like, and he seems like to be a very very talented horse. And hopefully he can get it back in the the winner's circle here, and head into the summer with the big summer and into the Breeders' Cup. But all right, guys, let's go to Saturday at Belmont Park. Of course, race 9, the Pennine Ridge Stakes, grade 2, worth the 200K for 3-year-olds, going about 1 1/8 miles on the turf. Field of 8 lines up here, and the odds are out now. So I see that, and I don't like the price that I got on 9-5. Number 8, Far Bridge. Excuse me. This is a horse we talked about, Major Dude, horse that beat Major Dude that race in the American Turf. Webslinger, of course, 1, Far Bridge 2nd, Major Dude 3rd. Are you on the Far Bridge bandwagon here now?
I am going to play Far Bridge, but I'm not going to go against number 4, Silver Knot on top. That's who I'm going to play on top in this spot. Charlie Appleby bringing this horse back over after he came over and ran second by a nose to Victoria Road in an amazing Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year on the turf. One start this year didn't go very well. It was over soft ground. So now our second start off the layoff, I think we'll have a firm turf course. So I went number 4, Silver Knot. When I heard he was coming over, I thought I'll slam dunk and I'll probably single, but I probably won't because, like you said, the 8 Far Bridge ran very, very well. I don't want to get beat by him. The 6 also, I think, is a pretty nice horse as well. So this is a good one, but for me, give me Silver Knot on top.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by the morning line, to be honest with you. I expected Silver Knot to be the favorite in the race, not Far Bridge, but it'll be interesting to see maybe what they actually go off. I imagine it'll be very close, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think I'm a little sour with the Appleby. I know it's such a good angle, and anytime they bring him over, you've got to pay attention. And I really like Silver Knot in the Breeders' Cup. Ran a good second to Victoria Road, hit that exacted that day, and made a bunch of money on that one. But yeah, I mean, the way the horses have been running when they've come over here lately, it's like they run well but not winning, and so it kind of makes you wonder, or gives me pause. Like, I didn't want to play the horse too low of odds. Now, if you can tell me that 2-1 you're going to lock that in, I'd be more interested in playing it. But I thought he would be a lot shorter of a price. Maybe he will be. I thought Far Bridge ran really well in defeat last time out. Kind of had to come up the inside. Learned a lot, I feel like, of that race. First start with Todd Pletcher that day. Now gets another start. So I think this horse is going to be tough. Another horse I looked at quite a while was the 6, Calic.
Yep.
I think that's an interesting horse. I think that might be the best Chad Brown horse of the race. That horse looked really good last time out. Went on the lead, but has also won off the lead the 2 back. I'm sorry. So I do think this horse feels like an up and coming developing horse at the right time. So I think the 6, Calic, is interesting as well. But I'm going to go number 8, Far Bridge. to win here in the Pennine Ridge. All right, let's go to where are we going next? What do you think? I mean, how, interesting race because do you think, like you said, like Silver Knot, you and I'm with you. I emailed you the other day. I was like, when I saw Silver Knot was coming, I was like, oh, he's coming. He's back. Like you think logically single, but then you see the field and like you can make a case for going 2, 3 deep even here.
Absolutely. I think it's a really good field. I think these 2, 3 horses that run well here, they're going to run right back in the Belmont Derby and be tough because these are good horses. And Silver Knot, I think the thing you worry about, he did not run very well in his first race of the season, and so I know it's completely different when you come here, but it's enough to go, okay, this Calic who could get loose on the lead, this 8 Far Bridge, even a horse like the 3 or the 5. They can compete with him. There's no doubt. It's going to be a really good race. I think the Pennine Ridge and the Penn Mile, we talked about Major Dude a lot, but there's some decent horses in that one too. I think you're going to see some good performances that'll lead to a really good Belmont Derby, which will be next for a lot of them.
Back to the race, Michael, you bring a good point, and this is a exact strategy that I've been playing and having a lot of success with here lately. Is I agree. Like whichever Brown is speed you want to play, Silver Knot or Far Bridge to run them down, but maybe you can wire them. But if you really think the 6 is interesting on top, but if you also really think Far Bridge or Silver Knot will come running, maybe I'm not against you. Got to look at the wheel pays, of course, but like a 4, like Silver Knot, Far Bridge over Calic, something like that. Like the idea of Calic will go to the lead, be running, someone will, one of them will nail him. And, and typically I've had a lot of success with that. It's like maybe one of them doesn't, maybe Far Bridge doesn't run great. Maybe it's Silver Knot or vice versa. If you can get that home, if you have confidence that Calic is going to run a good race, but just get nailed by one of them, that exactly can pay really well. So it'd be interesting to see what those wheel pays are because I might be playing that. So,
yep.
All right, let's go to Churchill Downs on Saturday, race 8. We got a couple to talk about here. The Shawnee Stakes, grade 3, we're $225K for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 1 1/16 miles. Field of 8 shows up here on the 6 horse, 2-1 on Frost Point. Are you going there, or are you going to use? Pauline's Pearl is one of those that I want to play, but I just don't have confidence in her.
Yeah, this is. I hate this race, to be completely honest with you. This is a weird race for sure. I debated on this one a lot. I'm not going to go Frost Point on top, even though I do kind of concede that Frost Point's going to be tough. I'm going to give her one more shot. Number 3, Pauline's Pearl for me. I just feel like we're getting back amongst our friends. At Sam Houston in the Ladies Classic, we were in a grade 3 race. We're up against Hidden Connection, a horse that could have a chance as well, and she was able to win. Then we went back to back grade 1s, and that's not Pauline's Pearl anymore. So I went number 3, Pauline's Pearl in this spot. I hope that price of 5-2 floats up a little bit. I don't like the price that much.
Yeah,
It sucks.
Let's
be honest.
I've struggled with this one for a long time because I was just like, I want to pick Pauline's Pearl, but those last couple races were horrendous.
Yeah.
And I get that you're getting class relief here. Ran 5 times at Churchill Downs, only won once, and only hit the board 2 times out of those 5. So I kind of took a stand. Listen, I come the same way. Like at first, I went into this like, okay, obviously I'm not picking Frost Point, and I'm picking, I'm looking at everyone else. I'm like, oh, I like the 5 a little bit. Oh, I like maybe the 7. I maybe can finally get it done. Maybe the 8 Moon Swag was interesting with the pace setup. Maybe the pace collapses and the 8 comes flying. I just kept going back to the 6. And I hate to chalk out, but the 6 Frost Point at 2-1, but winner of the last 3, and frankly, all of them were pretty dominating efforts. And I think this horse, is just catching a field once again that is not overly great, and likes this distance. And Alvarado, Belmont, Godolphin. I don't know. I just think this is maybe you might overthink it a little bit trying to beat her. So I'm with number 6 Frost Point to win. All right, let's go to the next one. The Arlington Stakes, race 9, grade 3, 225K for 4-year-olds and up, going 1/116 miles on the turf. Field of 7 lined up here, 8-5 on set piece. Classic Causeway at 4-1. Get Smoking at 6-1. Kentucky Ghost 8-1. And Royal Patronage at 3-1. Those are kind of some of your top contenders. But set piece or Royal Patronage, did you go one of those two?
I went Royal Patronage on top. I kind of like this horse. One off the layoff last time out. I think should get better here in this spot. I think there's a lot of speed in this race. Well, maybe not a lot of speed, but I think there will be a hot pace is probably a better way to say it because the 1 and the 3, I think, go at it early. And I think the 6 just kind of bides his time and then pounces at the top of the stretch. I kind of like this horse. Brought him over last year, ran in some really tough races. Now we've kind of reset. We won an allowance. I think we're in a good spot now. So I like Royal Patronage here, the 6 horse. Hopefully we get that 3-1 price.
I mean, tell me, maybe remind me, was Royal Patronage the horse that we bet real hard? Or why am I thinking it keeps coming to that horse? I keep thinking of that horse's name. And I know that horse ran into Keeneland and won. But I just feel like I remember this. I know that horse. I feel like I bet this horse last time.
I can't remember what day it's April 20th. Was that Lexington Day? Lexington Stakes Day, maybe? Because if so, we could have had them in some of that.
I don't remember. I feel like we did though. Let me look here. Was it? Maybe what was it? I don't know.
Could you have bet him at Saratoga that day in the Saratoga Derby?
Ooh.
When he faced Nation's Pride, Annapolis. That may have been it.
That may be it.
Because he was 14-1.
Yeah, I think that may have been it. Off of the coming in off of yeah. I think that was it. I think that was it. Anyways, I went to looked at that horse quite a bit. I kind of went with your old buddy, Set Piece. I know you're just, I know why you're not picking the horse, but
yeah,
I don't hate him as much as you do. I'm kind of the same way. I just feel like the pace is going to be there for the horse, and this is a horse that has ran huge races in the past, kind of out of nowhere sometimes, but likes Churchill Downs. 7 starts, 4 wins, 6 starts at this distance, 3 wins. So more than anything, I think it's a combination of the pace setup. And you're just, you're getting a very, I wouldn't even know if I can say average field that the horse can tackle. But I went with number 7, Set Piece, to win here. Man, I feel like I'm really chalking out, which is not something I usually do on these. Race 10, the Blame Stakes, grade 3, worth 225K. For 4-year-olds and up, going 1 1/8 miles. You got a field of 8 lined up here. Rattle and Roll at 2-1. I can tell you, I can confirm I will not chalk out here because it is against my religion to play McPeak as a favorite and 2-1. But are you going to?
Yep, because I played him 2 straight times as favorites and he's won with Rattle and Roll. So I'm gonna play him one more time. And this is another race I can't stand it. I hate it. If I'm playing Rattle and Roll, it just means that I don't like anybody else. And I was the same way with the last 2 times when I played him. The other problem is he's beaten a lot of these horses before. I'm curious to see who you went with, because I do think if you're not playing him, you can make a case for a lot of these. Pioneer Medina, Happy American. You want to go Santin? I don't know, but I'm going to go Rattle and Roll. I think he's the best of the group.
Well, you said it. And if you feel like if you can't go him, which I'm not, then I feel like you can make a case for almost any of them. Pioneer of Medina and I we broke up long ago. It's over. I never taken them back. So that's not happening. Happy American was one that I looked at for quite a while. I just can't get there with Happy American. Barber Road. You got to at least say Barber Road name just for shoddy.
Yep.
Even though I gave Mike some shit on Twitter, I'm kind of with him. Like, this horse, I get the horses ran better lately, but I just, a couple things. One, the horse has been running better on Lasix. That's a huge thing. 2 goes back off Lasix here, and 3 like maybe that was 2. I don't know. But this is obviously he's stepping up in class, so I don't necessarily believe that he can win here. Masquerade, I think, is interesting. Listen, I'll say, like, I'm playing against Rattle and Roll. I will use defensively because I do think he's the best horse in the race, right? Like, I don't think there's any doubt. Look at the way the last couple of races. Like, this horse is certainly very, very good, and I'm still not over that Pimlico special where I had speed bias in that exacta huge, and I still don't know how. I don't know how CZ Rocket got the nose down on that race last weekend in second, and I don't know how this horse didn't. But still, what horse did I not mention, Halterman? Number 5, Santine. That's who I'm picking. And listen, it's more of a case of, okay, I'm not picking the 1, and I don't like anyone else in the race. So you might as well pick a little bit of the unknown. And if there's a horse that has ran numbers that can beat the 1, it's the 5. Now, they were on turf, start making the dirt debut. But if you look at the way the horses ran, you got to think they're thinking we're going to go to the lead. We're going to be close to the lead here with the 5. And if this horse, takes to the dirt, I think this horse has got the class to make it a little challenging for Rattle and Roll. Now, it's a big price at 8-1. There's a reason why it's 8-1. I would need a lot of that price in order to play. But to me, I'm going 1-5 and or 5-1, however you want to take that. But as far as the multis, I'd play the 1 and the 5, and just hoping the 5 takes to the dirt and can pull off an upset here, because I just don't have a lot of faith in the rest of them.
Hard to have faith in any of the 8. Yep. So I get it. You try to take a little bit of the new approach, or however you want to phrase it there with Santana. We'll see what happens. I mean, I've never liked this horse even on the turf. So that was kind of my pause for playing him on the dirt. I just said, I don't ever even play him when he's on the turf, so I'm not going to do it now. But I get it. I mean, you're trying to find something, and that's something. I mean, we don't know that he's just average on the dirt. So we'll find out.
Well, yeah, and Mike, like, you're right. Like, we don't know. Like, I agree. Like, he's definitely not ran well the last couple starts. And it could be a case of, like, Walsh is like, hey, well, let's try something different. Maybe that will, and that's very much the case. But the point I'm making is I do think the 1 is a very logical horse. If there is going to be a horse to upset, I don't have the confidence. I don't have the belief or the opinion in any of these other horses. So I'm going more towards the unknown. You look at Santine last year, very capable. I mean, ran 3 straight triple-digit buyer races, including a 106 in the Arlington Million. Like, the horse is capable of running huge races, and that it would be enough, by the way, to beat the 1, but we just have to do it on dirt. So I'm looking at, whereas I look at this field and I'm like, I guess Pioneer Medina has ran a 103 in the past, and that was in a loss. So I just can't get there with him. So 1-5 for me. Well, what do we say? Let's go to one more. And Shoddy, I'm sorry. I mean, I just can't do it with Barber Road. I'm sorry. I know you hate it, but just not there. All right, let's go to Santa Anita for the final one here. Race 8, the Summertime Oaks, Grade 2, or 200K for 3-year-old fillies going 1/116 miles. Field of 7 shows up here, 5-2 on the inside. The alleys look going over to the West Coast now. Formerly trained by Brad Cox. Mike Smith gets the mount. Allergies. You got Baffert at 3-1 doing the hard way. Anywho for Sadler at 3-1, 4-1, and Tell Me No Lies. Where are you going here? This is like was an impossible race, really, because it's kind of shitty.
It's funny how it's like Penn National and Belmont. We talked about those, and it's like you can hear the joy of, like, wow, this is going to be fun. This could be good. And then we just kind of went downhill after that. This is another one. It's just a weird race for sure, right? I mean, a lot of different ways you could go. I went number 5, doing it the hard way on top for Baffert. Hopefully, just this filly just gets out to the front and takes some gate to wire. That's my hope here. I don't see a ton of other speed in the race, and so I think she can kind of just get the trip and hopefully hold them off. So I'm going to go to number 5.
All right. Well, hard to disagree with that one, but Listen, I'm not. The Always Look last out, finished third in the Kentucky Oaks, the third in the Fairgrounds Oaks. I think this horse is interesting for sure, but I don't like playing the horse as a favorite, no doubt. I went all the way to the outside here with the 7. Anywho, I think that's an interesting horse, kind of similar to doing it the hard way, stretching out. Even though that horse has stretched out, but this horse that has been spaced out, 7 furlongs in October, 7 furlongs in March, and now stretches out, to the mile and the 16th with Sadler, Hronis Racing. Like obviously, this is a horse that's well bred, and they seem to have high hopes for the horse. It just kind of blew out the fields. Those two got a 90 buyer that last race as well. So I think if the horse stretches out, should sit a nice trip. And I like the placement here. Drawing outside, I don't think is a bad thing. Should be able to sit off that pace just a tad, and then hopefully have something left late in the race. But yeah, it's not the greatest of fields, Halterman.
No, the Always Look. That's an odd one that she shows up here. I thought she was like 500 to 1 to run next in the Summertime Oaks at Santa Anita, right? So it's weird.
I mean, I don't think you even like thought of this race when it came to her. I mean, and then what's it like? Why? It's not like Brad Cox doesn't ship horses out west. So what's with the trainer change?
I don't know. Really odd. Really, really odd. I don't know. Because look, you said third in the Kentucky Derby or Kentucky Oaks, excuse me, and you're like, okay, it's pretty good. And then yikes,
Every time we talk about this year, every year it rolls around, I think of Stellar winning this race.
Yeah.
Getting a nostril down. That was one of my kind of like, that's like probably like the most like random, I don't want to say this, like one of my most random horses that I really, really like and still think about sometimes.
Yeah.
Ran just, won the Summertime Oaks, then won the Torrey Pines. And then, gosh, you and I both had her in the distaff that year. And God, just disgusting loss, but
yeah,
really nice horse. But yeah, every time we do this race, I think of Stellar Win. All right, guys, I am on number 7. Anywho, Halterman going with the Baffert here. Number 5, doing it the hard way. Yeah, she was a curling, right? Yeah, she was.
Yep, she was.
So some of those losses, man, you just don't ever get over.
No. Sometimes they affect you because then you try to chase her in the race the next year when you probably shouldn't have, But
yeah, and she was like 7 to 1 that year.
I know.
And then, stop charging Maria. Got her, but man, that was sick.
It was a rough loss. Yep.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for our free picks and, of course, our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing Dudes premium button at the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. Remember to go check out the Belmont Stakes betting Bible. That it will be available within the hour. If you're listening to this live or if you're listening to this later, it is available right now at racingdudes.com. Remember, the betting Bible covers not just the Belmont Stakes, but the entire massive card that will be going on Saturday, June 10th at Belmont Park. We killed the Preakness betting Bible, over a 70% plus ROI and the Preakness. I had a huge $500 exacta that day, and hopefully we can kind of get that momentum back in the right place here as we head into the Belmont. So make sure you go get your hands on that. See exactly how we're betting every single race on the card. Top 4 consensus picks from the entire team at racingdudes.com. Everything you need to cash in huge. Make sure you go get your hands on that at the website at racingdudes.com. All right. We are on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, all the places you listen to. We are on there. The Magic Mike Show is as well. Any idea? I haven't looked. Oh, here we go. The Belmont Pick 5. They're doing the Belmont Park Saturday late Pick 5 preview coming up later this afternoon at 4 o'clock Central. Make sure you stay tuned for the Magic Mike Show and listen to them on all the same platforms. I meant to mention this earlier, and we just got going too much on the Belmont Stakes, but I was looking earlier at the probable fields or the possible fields for a couple of the races. We don't know all of them yet, but as far as what Naira has released for the Met Mile and the True North, those are the ones. And I thought it was interesting. The probables for the Met Mile as of right now are Charge It,
Hmm.
Cody's Wish, Doppelganger, Farmo Power, Hoist the Gold, Repo Rocks, Slow Down Andy, Taba, and White Abario, or Rick Dutrow now. And Zandon and Dr. Shivel are possible. And I thought that was interesting because Elite Power, who was in going towards that race for a while, is now a probable for the True North. So you have Anarchist, Elite Power, Fearless, Strobe, and Synthesis as probables. Dr. Shivel, also Little Vic, Today's Flavor, Twisted Ride are all possibles for the True North. So I thought that was interesting that Elite Power now shifting towards the True North versus the Met Mile.
Makes sense. He's a sprinter, so that would make sense to go there. Yeah, Met Mile is going to be interesting. That's a mixed bag, to say the least. That's a lot of stuff going on with that one, including White Abario going to Rick Dutrow. So, yeah, I mean, you've got how to phrase it. You've got a great story with Cody's Wish, and then you've got a lot of not so great stories with some of those other horses. So that'll be really interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, I think probably, and also with Elite Power is like if you're probably hoping you had more than a race or had a race prior. It's hard to go off the layoff straight to the Met Mile. Maybe if he had a race prep prior and then it's like, well, okay, we'll stretch him out a little bit and try the Met Mile, but makes sense. Obviously, bigger races down the road, of course, into Saratoga. So, how much are you going to bet on Charge It to win the Met Mile?
None.
I mean, Cody's Wish. If you, man, Tabe is going to be tough. But what is he anymore? I don't know. I have no faith in him. But he does get Baffert and coming into New York.
I think it's going to be, like I said, Cody's Wish really needs to win that race because I'm afraid if he doesn't, who does? And it's like, like Michael says, if Repo Rocks beats Cody's Wish, White Abario beats Cody's Wish, that's gonna feel dirty. It just is.
The Jamie Ness, Rick Dutrow exacta. How about that? Or how about get Taba third? The Jamie Ness, Rick Dutrow, Bob Baffert trifecta.
Yeah, it's gonna feel dirty. So hopefully Cody's Wish can win that. He's gonna be the favorite, but yeah, it'll be an interesting race. That's gonna be good. That's gonna be a really good race. Yeah, Cody's Wish was really good last time out at Churchill. So we'll see if he can make it 2 for 2 on the year.
Yes, Mike, we need to make a shirt that says "Friends don't let friends bet Charge It." We can't just anytime you think about it, just have a friend like on speed dial, like you can call up and be like, "Listen, I'm thinking, dude, I'm having a hard time over here. I'm thinking about betting Charge It," and it'll say, "No, you can't do it, dude. Don't go back to the dark side. I'm done with him."
He returns to the track that he ran his best race, so there's that, and it's one turn that might help him. I mean, there are things, but yeah, he's just too damn goofy. I kind of thought he was over that, but he's clearly not. He was just, that race at Oakland was just disgusting. He's just acted like an idiot in that race.
I have no doubt that he'll look like a winner for about 5 seconds or so of the race.
Well, he turned for home, and after the race, our buddy Paul texted me. He's like, "Boy, he got bumped around." I said, "Go watch that again. He did it all to himself. That's the problem. He ran right up into the back of another horse. Like, he did get bumped around, yes, because he tried to run right into a horse. He was just all over the place. So, I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see how if you're playing the multis, how the races around it are positioned, just to see how you play this race. Because, I mean, last year we had the benefit of having a pretty sweet single there, right? This year, maybe you could come up with a single, but you're just going to have to take a leap. And whether it be Taba, whether it be Cody's Wish, you're going to have to just sack up a little bit and hope that hope you can do it. I mean, Taba, it's certainly interesting, right? I mean,
Yeah.
going, the mile distance for him and his speed, you got to think off the layoff and Baffert. I mean, certainly makes a lot of sense, but I mean, Cody's Wish has just been so good.
That'll be a really interesting race. That's going to be fun to watch.
I'm also very interested to see Elite Power. I've been ranking him number one in the Olders all year, just because I haven't liked a lot of Olders like much, and I just thought he was so good into last year. But yeah, he's gonna have to come back and run huge for me to stick with that. So
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Halterman. Good luck, by the way.
Yeah.
Your race.
Thanks. And Alex, say if you're going to be at Prairie Meadows, we'll be there Friday and Saturday. Should be fun. A big day tomorrow with Husker Butch running in the first race, and then we'll see what happens Saturday. Also, Kelly's going to win a couple. I think he's loaded for this day. So big day for the trainer, and hopefully he gets it going off on the right foot Friday.
Tell Kelly I said hi, will you?
I will.
Make sure he buys you a drink or two.
Okay, I will definitely do that.
Make sure you tell Kelby I said hi too.
I will do that.
Is he shoeing your horse?
Yes.
Perfect. Well,
yeah. So hopefully he doesn't mess anything up. I don't think he will. He never has. So,
hey, you know what? More than anything, make sure you have a hang on. What is it? Something to water. Altoona water.
Altoona ice water. Yeah.
I would drive with you. I would drive myself just to get the Jethro's situation.
Did you know that Kelby is kind of a legend at that place?
Did he defeat the challenge?
No, but they love him. That they printed posters when he got back into Iowa and said, "Welcome back to town, Kelby von Hemel," with his picture on it.
Kelby?
Yes. Kelby is a legend at Jethro's.
When he got back from Saratoga?
No, when he got back from Oaklawn, he's in Hot Springs. Yeah, welcome back, Kelby von Hemel.
For what though? Like, what is he a legend for?
Well, I think he drinks at that bar every day. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
Well, they don't want him to go because they make so much money off of him.
Well, remember they also printed off little like heads on a stick for Travers Day when he was up at Saratoga as well. See if I can find.
He's certainly a VIP at that place for how much money he spent on mostly alcohol. So
I've got it. Hold on, let me pull it up. Hopefully they've got multiples because I'm gonna get one of these.
Put it up on the screen.
Yeah, I'm going to. He sent me this. He's like, "Look at this shit." I was like, "Oh my god." There we go.
I mean, you're basically gonna be hanging out with a legend then.
I'm hanging out with an Iowa Hall of Famer and a Jethro's Hall of Famer. Take that.
Oh shit! Is that like that? He's on a White Claw poster.
Well, evidently, him and Dustin drank them out of White Claws one year, so now they do that.
Is that like you're taking a piss and that poster's up right in the stall?
Supposedly, there's a few hanging up, so we'll see what happens.
Dude, if you see one when you're there, you've got to take a picture.
Oh yeah, I am. I'm going to, but yeah, like I said, and when he left for the Travers, they had stuff, celebrating Kelby being in Saratoga, and then like I said, coming back from Hot Springs, this is what he walks into. So, I'm sure I will see these live and in person. So.
Listen, I would argue that not one person listening to this podcast has ever been cool enough to have their picture on a poster at a bar. Or I don't know if cool is the right word.
Oh man, I don't know. I was dying when he sent that. I was like, oh my god, that's great.
What a legend.
It's funny because when we met Shoddy, I wish we would have met you the day before because you could have seen the real Kelby and myself at the track. But the next day we met Shoddy and we were both so hungover. It was incredible. I'd never felt so bad as I felt that day. So anyway.
Yeah, you got the watered down version of Halterman, no doubt.
I don't even know how that happened the last time I was with him. That can't happen again because I don't think I can live through it again. So
I do. I wasn't there. That's the problem. When I'm not there to help maintain the night, it goes over.
Well, what happened was his dad and one of his buddies was there, and they were just in a, hey, let's hang out and drink mood. And so we left the track drinking way more than we usually had,
Yeah.
and then you go and you do the same amount you'd already done, but you're way ahead of pace. And we didn't think about that. So,
Yeah. I can say, like, anytime like those, it doesn't happen often, but when you either Saratoga or in Hot Springs and Kelly makes that decision of like, oh shit, Kelly's going to go out with us. Cause we obviously always go out with Kelby, but Kelly makes that decision. It's like, the night's on at that point.
when Kelly's in that mood, it's like, you don't get that very often, if at all. And so, yeah, it becomes an epic, an epic night.
Yeah. Yeah. The drinks keep flowing. Like there's let's just say like, you can see, Kelby learned the where he learned it from, like they're
Yes.
Kelly's obviously way more, mature and grown up now. But you could tell every once in a while he likes to let loose. So
Yes. Yeah.
well, hopefully you guys can have some natural lime White Claws for old Husker Butch after you visit the Winter Circle tomorrow afternoon. I'll be watching. Okay.
Okay. Good. And honestly, the only thing I could drink that day was high noons. I wanted to throw up if I drank anything else. So that's why I drank those.
I'm so excited for pool season now. Like it's high
There you
noon
go.
season is what it is. So
That's right.
love me some high noons at the pool. So speaking of, I might go head there right now. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Halterman, good luck.
Thank you.
On Friday. Remember, race 1 on Friday at Prairie Meadows. Halterman's Husker Butch. What number is he?
Number 6.
Number 6, Husker Butch, running the first race at Prairie Meadows. Go put $1 million on him. He thinks he's a lock to win, he said. No. Okay. All right. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend. We'll see you next week for the Belmont Stakes.